plow, take it out of your budget and ask the delegation to buy it tomorrow with ARPA money. And so, yes, you will want to, and yes, when we the purchasing.
Prepared, I'm prepared for that.
Excellent. Am I asking for anything? You are.
Hey, Glenn. Hey, Glenn.
Yeah.
Hi, Mike.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you're fine, yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I'm having a hard time talking.
Ah,
I've
Okay.
got wicked laryngitis.
ah,
I'll do my best.
all right.
I also have the reference.
And I want to say being down there where it's nice and warm, but I won't say that.
Yeah, I think he's talking, he's in the Hampshire, I think.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not in Florida?
No, I'm not in Florida. I'm in Laconia.
Oh, all right.
But I've got the flu, so I didn't think I should be there.
Fair enough, fair enough.
You go.
This is my.
And the other thing we found, we put it on a truck for the week. That should.
That's right. All right, guys, okay. Point two, I will call this meeting to order. Commissioner Hodges, would you please lead us in the pledge? Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay. On to last meeting's minutes. Any discussion or motion to approve? Move it presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. On to discussion of our last calendar. Does anyone have any questions or discussion?
I know.
I have a. Oh, well, yeah, no. You sure? Was there a second on the minute?
On the minutes, yeah.
The minutes? We did the minutes already. Yeah, we approved minutes.
Did that.
We don't have any minutes for the work session?
Yes. I think I have set in.
I do not.
Oh, they're gone.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah,
Oh, good.
not together.
Yeah, you have really good minutes, actually.
All right.
Thank you, Angela.
You want to approve both sets? Is that what I understand?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fine, good. Previously signed documents. Discussion, questions. Comments?
Move as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, commissioners, next up, we have via Zoom, Mr. Muzzy, our treasurer.
Mr. Muzzy.
Mr. Muzzy, how are you, sir? Can you unmute, please?
You're muted, Mike.
Mike?
Oh,
Hi.
he's doing it right now. He's still muted.
Can't hear you.
Mike, unmute, please.
No,
Uh-oh.
no here.
He's still muted. I can see it.
Can you unmute him, Angela?
Let's see here. Let's see. I can ask to unmute. Oh.
I'm sorry, I was on mute.
You got to the Good to
Can you
have
hear
you.
Okay.
Hi, Mike.
What do you have for us?
I'll try to talk slowly so that you can understand me. I've got wicked laryngitis. It's that time of year again when we have to start planning for our borrowing needs for next fiscal year.
Mhm.
I've sent you a memo along with a cash flow statement for next year, a pro forma cash flow statement, and an historical borrowing spreadsheet that's got a listing of all of our borrowings since 2010. The cash flow statement shows us running out of cash sometime in probably early April. So that's about the time we're going to need to actually do the borrowing. And what I have to do after the commission accepts my proposal is I have to present this again to the executive committee of the delegation, which I will do sometime in the spring. So what I'm asking for, the cash flow kind of shows us needing around 12 million by the end of the year, but that's 14 months out. I did request 14 million rather than 12. It's up to you whether you want to approve that or not. In any event, the amount that we actually borrow will not exceed whatever is in the budget for next year that's coming from tax appropriation. So we will stay under that number, whatever that is. If that exceeds 14 million, we're fine. If it's less than that, then the maximum amount we can borrow is whatever that dollar amount is. That's the tax appropriation for 2024. So I'll leave it up to you whether you want to approve the 14 or whether you want to approve maybe just 12 million. I'll leave that up to you.
So Mike, you're recommending the 14 over the 12. Can you specify why, please?
Well, I mean, this is a long-term projection. Things can change. If something were to happen next year and we would need more money than the 12 million that the pro forma shows, we don't have to come back before the delegation and ask for a second appropriation for borrowing. That's the only reason. Our bond counsel will advise us as to what the maximum amount. When we submit the request for borrowing, they will advise us what the maximum amount is that we're allowed to borrow legally, and at that point in time, and so we won't borrow more than that. And all the 2 million additional money does is gives us some flexibility if we need it next year, maybe toward the end of the year, if we need to do an additional borrowing. We don't have to come back before the delegation. So that's the only reason. I've done it that way in the past. It's not created a problem.
Well, 12 million.
We did 12 last year.
The request was for up to 12 last year.
Yes.
And the commissioners feel 12 is a reasonable request, sufficient request.
What's our current appropriation, like our tax amount projection from our budget that we just had?
The amount to be raised by taxes, 21 million, roughly.
You know what it was last year, Ken?
It's almost 22 million for 2024. Last year, it was 20.6 million.
So we're actually raising more money, although we're
Yes,
spending more.
yes.
Now, the last couple of years, we've had ARPA money available to us to help with our cash flow issues. We don't have that anymore. At least I'm assuming we don't have any of that left. So
Hmm. What say the commissioners on this number?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the 14 million because we're actually bound by the calculation as the amount you can actually borrow at any point, and it's 6 months out from the time of borrowing. So if we were to borrow in March, right, so they would look at, in essence, August or September, that first round, so your first hand wouldn't be more than $8 million, so. but
Correct.
it gives you the cushion of, hey, should we need a second borrowing? You don't have to go back before the delegation. So the 14 is an upper limit that we probably will never hit, but at least gives the ability to save time as well as legal fees later.
And so there's no real downside to this.
I don't think so. I would recommend the same.
I think to be prudent, I'd would support the 14.
Okay, all right, do we have a motion?
I'll move the treasurer's recommendation.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye, the motion carries.
Now, one thing that I'll mention, and I think Laurie may have included this in the budget, but we're looking at a much higher interest rate this year than we've experienced in the last several years. So the interest expense in our budget for next year will be a significant number more than what you see on this spreadsheet of historical borrowing, where we've paid, somewhere between 60 and $100,000, $300,000 last year. But short-term interest rates are up significantly today from what they were even a year ago. So just anticipate a higher interest expense.
Sure.
There.
So is there an impact that borrowing the extra two we may not need? What is the impact?
No, there's no impact there.
Okay.
No, I was thinking it is an impact on the budget increase from last year to this year. No, I don't remember, but I think it's pretty significant, like $100,000 more in tax anticipation note interest than last year. So that's something else I maybe ought to add.
Based on these numbers, there's no getting around it.
No, there's not. But that's one of the reasons for the increase.
Unless the town's gonna pay us early.
And they won't.
That's
The
not
town's gonna pay us early, we can save that $300,000.
We're open every day.
All right, understood. What else do you have for us, Mike?
I'm sorry.
What do you have for us? Any other requests
No,
or
all set.
or comments? You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
So we'll let you rest your voice then.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Mike. Be
Thanks,
well.
Mike.
Thank you all.
So the next step will be for schedule the executive.
Right.
Okay, commissioners, we have a department update from our county attorney. How are you, Andrew?
Nice to see you. Feel like it's been a long time.
I know.
2 weeks.
So I'm here to report that things are well at the county attorney's office. From a personnel standpoint, we had an opening in our administrative staff, which we have now filled. Our new administrative assistant, she's starting next week, so that's positive. We do have an opening for an attorney still, but I have made an offer to a woman who's going to be graduating from Franklin Pierce School of Law in May. She's what's called a Webster Scholar. Webster Scholars are honors students in the law school down there, and because they're in a special advanced program, when they graduate in May, the Webster Scholars are automatically admitted to the bar in New Hampshire. They don't have to take the bar exam,
Wow.
which decreases your risk that you're going to hire someone who won't pass the bar. So she will be already admitted to the bar in New Hampshire. So it's a great pickup. The downside of hiring brand new law graduates is they need a lot of training. So they're not like a lateral that can come right in and start out. I wanted a lateral, but they're very hard to find right now, and they want a lot of money. So the other good thing about hiring her as a Webster Scholar is the Webster Scholars do a lot of internships during their time in law school, which is part of how they are able to skip taking the bar exam. She'll be starting in my office as an intern in January and will work 2 days a week as an unpaid intern from January to May. So I can use that time to sort of get her up to speed and teach her about how my office runs, and she can help with some cases, and so. I
Nice.
think it's a real win-win for my
That
office.
sure is.
That's great.
So that's good news. So on the personnel side, I think I'm in good shape. On the office building infrastructure side, things are going well. I know you're gonna be talking to John about more of that afterwards, but
Yes.
the carpet installation is going very well. There has been a little bit of disruption, but Mike, the guy who's doing it, is doing a great job of trying to minimize that. I worked with my people. So he's doing sort of one office at a time, and we're moving people either into the conference room, or people are working in the conference rooms upstairs in the courthouse. So it's working. I've had some people have to work a few days from home remotely, but we have the infrastructure to do that as well. So that's going well. They are working on our heating control system while they're doing that, which is I'm glad to see, because we've talked in years past about the heat in my building. Hopefully this is going to help improve the heating system. They're putting in some new outlets. There's a lot of good work being done on that side. We're as busy as ever. Our case numbers, I think this year are going to be back up in those high numbers that we were seeing pre-COVID. I think we're going to be up in the 600 to 700 range for felony cases this year. So we're very busy. As of January 1st, as you may know, there's going to be a change to the law, which is going to change to some degree how my office operates. They have done away with felonies first. So we're going back to the old way of doing business, where when the police arrest somebody on felony charges, those cases are going to go to district court and start out in district court, and they're going to be arraigned there. The initial bail hearings will be held there, and the case will sit in district court until it's bound over. In cases get bound over back to Superior Court, either when they're indicted or when there's a probable cause hearing done. We're still waiting to see sort of how this is going to shake out in terms of our workload. I'm working on new procedures with all the police chiefs around the county. That's going to change how police departments sort of bring their cases to us. I've met with all of the local prosecutors to talk about how this shift is going to happen, because they're now going to be taking on some of the workload in terms of bail hearings and those initial arraignments are going to be handled by local prosecutors. So there's been a back and forth sort of negotiation process between me and the police chiefs, because it has to be handled somewhat delicately in terms of I'm shifting workload back to them, which is going to cost the towns in some cases potentially some more money. So we're working on balancing them, but it's going well. I haven't heard too much grumbling from police departments or local prosecutors. So that's it. So
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
I'm just curious about the felonies first thing.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
How did that change come about? Was it pressure from county attorneys saying this is a problem, or did the state realize
it was pressure
they
from,
not like it?
it
Or
was pressure from a group of it was pressure from the defense bar and a couple legislators.
Who are those
In
legislators?
particular, Ned Gordon.
Judge Gordon.
Judge Gordon, who was a judge in the district court
Yes.
in Bristol for many, many years,
Yeah.
and now is a legislator.
Mhm.
Never thought it was a bad idea to have switched to felonies first in the first place. So he spearheaded this move to undo it. There was a split among the county attorneys. Of the 10 county attorneys, most of us wanted things to stay the way they were. We got used to felonies first. We
Yeah.
all had procedures in place. We sort of liked it. We hired the staff we needed. It was all working well. But the two counties that wanted it changed back were Hillsborough and Merrimack, which are two of the largest counties, who have lots of district courts, and they felt the increased case. I mean, we all know that felonies first, when it came into effect, it increased the caseloads for the county attorney's office. Which is why we had to hire more staff. It sort of buried Hillsborough County, and they are hopeful that undoing it will lighten their burden significantly.
So felonies first ran for about 6 years with mixed results. And Andrew, what particular component of that did Senator Ward object to? Do you know specifically? What he
I think
particularly
he-
found objectionable to?
I think he felt that if you started cases in district court, that there were a certain number of low-level, you can call them, say, low-level felonies, cases that are technically felonies, but were sort of the low-level ones, whether it's simple drug possessions or driving offenses, things like that, that used to get dealt out and handled in district court by some sort of plea bargain usually. And the feeling was that the district court was in a better position because they're handling this large sort of influx of misdemeanors all the time, that they were better suited, closer to the ground, so to speak, to handle those low-level cases. It was more efficient. I think Ned's argument was it was more efficient to sort of handle those cases in district court and avoid charging people unnecessarily with felonies when at the end of the day, they weren't going to end up with a felony conviction. That it was inefficient to charge people with those felonies, indict them,
And then drop it.
only later to drop them to misdemeanors. And the idea was, why not just handle them all in district court where they're used to sort of dealing stuff out quick and dirty, and that somehow this would be more efficient.
I mean, he would know. I mean,
He would.
He was on the bench long enough, and then went over to the legislative
Right.
side, so he.
From my perspective, what I liked about felonies first, and why I fought to keep it there was on the more serious felonies, your serious assaults, your rape charges. What it did is, as soon as the case came in the door, it was assigned to us and we were on it. So our victim advocates were involved right from the start. My attorneys were involved right from the start in terms of staying in contact with the victims, making sure the charges that were charged were exactly what we wanted them to be. All of that we were able to handle right from the start. And I think that was a better way to deal with those serious cases. Which is why, even though we're going back to three felonies first, it's not going to be exactly like it used to be, because I still want us to have a hand in some of those serious cases. So I'm going to be sure that my people, or at least that we're hearing about the case first thing, and that we can coordinate with the local prosecutors right from the start. So it's sort of going to be a hybrid approach to the way it used to be to felonies first. I'm not willing to sort of give everything back to the local prosecutors right from the start. I want us to be involved. So that's what's going on.
Yeah, a real mixed bag.
It is.
Two interesting opinions, yours and.
Right. And I don't think, I mean, I think it is going to lighten our workloads some, but I don't see it lightening our workloads so much that we're going to suddenly feel like, oh, I could do one fewer attorney. I think that's going to happen. Because the overall caseloads have just continued to go up over the years. Yeah, right. So that's where we are. It's going to be a big switch come January 1st. The court is saying we're going to just turn the switch January 1.
If that's what they say, we take let their word.
We will see. They haven't really set up the procedures yet. They keep telling us we're going to have meetings. There'll be meetings. Part of the problem is, the Superior Court created a electronic case filing system. So everything that we file in the Superior Court is done electronically. District Court is still a paper-based system that does things with paper still. The two courts don't talk to each other very well. So we will see. We will see. But anyway, that's what's going on. Any other questions or concerns?
Thank you, Andrew.
Great.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you. Nice seeing you.
We'll be seeing you around the courthouse soon, I'm sure.
Yes. Well, hopefully you won't.
Yeah.
Are you gonna come for a visit?
Well, for the basement project.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you're not seeing me.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see.
Mr. Boston,
Good evening, Commissioners.
how are you?
Good evening. I'm well. I'm
Good.
Back again asking for stuff.
Yeah, before I forget, let's talk really quickly. So the V plow,
Yes,
the existing plow is what, like 5 footer, it's undersized, it's not.
7.
7, and it's still not the width of the truck?
When you angle left or right, you end up driving with the snow you're trying to plow.
Is that a Fisher Minimount 1 or 2? Is that a 1 or 2?
2.
So, okay. And how old is the truck that you're putting the?
2018,
How many miles are on it?
7,500.
Okay, so it's worth well more than the plow you're proposing. Oh, yeah, good. Okay, that's it.
As a matter of fact, we just had the frame and undercarriage oil.
Yeah, we're good. Okay. We're gonna bring that to the attention of the delegation tomorrow.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we have the basement project awarding the bid. What
Yes.
can you tell us about it?
Do you have the,
We do.
okay. 'Cause I know that came in kind of late. I didn't know if you had it.
We have it here.
So put it out for public offer. Again, it was in the Daily Sun, posted on the state of New Hampshire website, as well as our county website. I personally sent 4 invitations to companies to bid: Bowen, Turnstone, Meridian Construction, and Bond Page and Stone. On October 27th, we had mandatory bid walkthroughs at 9 o'clock. The following vendors: Bowen, Turnstone, Benchmark Construction, Triple Construction, and Northridge Contracting showed up. And one of these contractors in here is a demo contractor, so they didn't submit a bid. They're just looking at it for purposes of if they were hired to do demolition by one of these firms. So 4 people put in bids. SMP and myself went through all of the proposals, as well as Deborah, and 2 of the bidders didn't meet the RFP specifications. They didn't submit properly. So we narrowed it down to Bowen and Turnstone, and the table below shows the breakdown of their fees. And Bowen was the low bidder, and the recommendation is to go with Bowen.
Yeah, I mean, this is a double jackpot because they're a little better, and as you know, we have a good productive history with Fallon. Sometimes when you work with the same company over and over again, you can see a sense of complacency set in.
Yeah.
That has not been the case with this company. They're as sharp today working for us as they were, 6, 7 years ago working on the jail. So, commissioners.
I would tend to agree with that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move that we award that bid to Ballard. Is there a second? All in favor?
I,
Aye, the motion carried.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you gentlemen have any other questions? The gentleman through. I had my question answered on the plow. Was there anything else we discussed?
I just,
Seems like she's got.
Deborah?
Well, just since he is sitting here still, maybe because the back to the plow tomorrow night, you will be able to ask the delegation to add it to the list.
Yes.
Of ARPA projects. And then John would be needing to ask you to waive the purchasing policy, because he has recently put this out to bid for the plow we bought with the new truck. And the contractor vendor has agreed to honor the same bid pricing. But it would require the Board of Commissioners to vote on whether or not to allow him to waive that.
So do we need a motion?
How long ago was that RFP?
Don't know that.
It was RFP 2023-03 FM, and the bid opening was April 11th of this year.
Alright, so last spring, so this year.
it's like a good price.
Yeah. Is there a motion to?
We should have a motion that you agree to waive, yes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye, the motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So we'll see how it goes tomorrow night, but I don't anticipate any problems.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
thanks, John.
So next up, Deborah, we have this is in yours.
Andrew. Thank you, welcome.
Nice seeing you, Andrew. Nice seeing you. That is in yours and Commissioner Hodges' wheelhouse, is it not?
Yes.
Talk about that.
It is. Do you want me to go
Yes,
through it?
go ahead.
All right. We've spent some time meeting with the corrections negotiating team. I would say in general, it went very well. It was their first contract being represented by the Teamsters. Which I'll say was, yes, a positive experience. So some of the highlights of the contract include, it would be a 3-year term. It clarifies how vacant shifts are to be filled. Some of this stuff is, most of it really is very operational, but they wanted, to determine where vacancies would be posted. And so we've worked that out. Banked holidays, they want to keep them on the books, be able to use them for 180 days instead of 90 days. We agreed to that. We agreed to allowing them, and I should say that a lot of the things we agreed to and proposed were in order to make the whole county consistent, so that all of our contracts are the same, mostly for payroll purposes. this is one, the 4 major holidays being Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July, and New Year's Day. They would like to, we've agreed to pay them time and a half per hour's work as opposed to straight time. Right now they get straight time. They also get their holiday pay. Now they want to get time and a half
Yeah.
plus their holiday pay.
And did they give us anything back from that concession?
Yes, and it's hard to identify exactly because this thing was done as a whole package. So it's hard to say that for this, they gave this,
Yeah,
you know, but if you just let me get through the whole
Of
thing and
course.
then. You know, I will say from day one, the thing we knew we really wanted to get that we were gonna have to give something for was to get rid of the sick bonus.
Right.
That was the big thing that, we had in mind that we needed to get from them. It turns out what they had in mind that they wanted to get from us was the, shift differential, which you'll see on here.
Okay.
And in the end, that was the deal we made.
Yeah.
But these 4 major holidays are because we are also in the process of negotiating with the nursing home about the same issue and believe that it's going to pass. We agreed to increase their vacation leave to be consistent with the county policy everywhere else. Change the timing for, they wanted, they wanted to change the timing, the window when they can request seniority-based leave for the following year. That doesn't affect us in any way. We agreed to that. They wanted to, or what we finally agreed to, is to allow them to cash out 40 hours of vacation time per year when they reach the maximum. And really, that's probably an if they reach the maximum. They initially wanted 80 hours and they didn't want to have to reach the maximum, but you know, all the other unions have some form, and the non-union even, of being able to buy out their vacation time, some of it. Sick leave, they'll be allowed to use their sick leave for dependent care. So this is a big change, but the more we talk about it, basically what happens if a single parent has a sick child, they're not gonna come to work.
They're gonna bag out anyway.
Right, if we tell them that they can't use the day to take care of their kids, then they will just simply make up another reason. And so I think the advantage here is we're not gonna force our employees to lie about it anymore. They did agree to eliminate the sick bonus. The sick leave payout upon retirement, we offered this and obviously they agreed. This will make it consistent with all the other unions and our county policy. Funeral leave, we made consistent with our personnel policy and the other, at least 2 unions so far, which does give them in certain case for an immediate family member, and we defined immediate family member. I think it's mother, father, brother, sister, child, I don't know, there's a limited, it's specified that they could have 5 days off instead of 3. The health opt-off stipend, we agreed to increase to be consistent with the other contracts. And the reason this was agreed to fairly easily here is because there's nobody opting off. So we figured the first person who opts off saves the county money. The union steward, they want to add 2 alternates. We didn't have any problem with that. And the compensation, we're going to maintain the wage scale and the COLA language. And that was, that was something we were carefully watching. Obviously, we went through this whole compensation study to get everybody on one wage scale. We were not easily going to let that be disrupted. Longevity pay has been increased to be consistent with the rest of the county. And the shift differential, they've asked for this every year. I think I've worked for the county that they want it equal to the nursing homes. And we have always said no. And this time we said yes, because we really wanted that sick bonus gone. So the thing that I think is going to end up costing us money really is the shift differential.
I really think the contract, as Deb and I see it, is fair. I think it helps morale over there. And we even had a statement from one of the Teamsters negotiators that at the end of the whole thing that Belknap County is a shining star taking care of their employees in jails, because it said most of the jails in the state are a mess. I won't say the one she named, but they're a mess and they don't pay and they pay a lot of overtime. We're not into that right now. So I think it's a good contract.
So was this the type of negotiation where when you and Deborah or you and the county minister left the table, you felt that both parties were mutually satisfied?
I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah. I
And
don't
I
feel
say-
like it was one way. I don't think it was one way heavier. Now, we gave more than we have in past contracts, I will say that.
Yeah.
But we did that it was our proposal, basically trying to make our policies equal throughout the county.
Did we meet 2 or 3 times? 2?
I think really only twice.
Yeah, no,
With their whole team and.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had offline conversations back and forth and.
Negotiations are tricky because, as you know, if you go in looking to win the trade, looking to win negotiation, if either party walks out not smiling, it's probably going to create future problems for the next round of negotiations. So I think that.
I had the feeling they were very pleased.
I think they were, it's always difficult in the beginning to read their proposal
Yeah.
was exhaustive.
Right.
And so then that requires us to go to that meeting and say, no,
Which we did
no,
at the-
which we did do, right?
Right.
And then, we work things through and they come back at the next meeting and we did a lot. I think it worked great that we're able to do a lot by emailing proposals back and forth. Kind of reduces the meeting time.
Mhm.
So the only component here that you're not totally enthusiastic about is the shift differential.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna cost us some money. I see why they want it and I frankly had just run out of good reasons why not to give it to them. The nursing homes had it for years and we have consistently told corrections no. And now our recruitment problems. I don't know if I can say they're the same. Luckily, we're fully staffed in the jail and nowhere near it in the nursing home. But the shift differential will go a long way to help us retain our staff because the corrections departments are all very competitive with one another. And they all know right now that we have the best deal going and we have good employees who are happy here and we really need to keep them here.
Had you dug your heels on in this piece, would have blown up the negotiations?
Well, I don't know. I think we would have come to some arrangement still. It just wouldn't have been as, it wouldn't have done anything for morale. I think it was gonna definitely take some more doing. That was the one thing they really wanted to get.
Yeah,
And we got the elimination of the sick pay bonus.
and that was the.
That was a
big one.
quid pro quo
Yeah,
for the.
so that sounds
hour.
fair. It sounds like, this looks like a fair page. Commissioner Wary, thoughts, comments?
I have no concerns.
So,
Support their recommendation.
yeah, so we need a motion.
Yes, if we hope to get a motion from the board to approve the contract. Sometime, I believe this week, the corrections union members will be also voting on this. And then it needs to go to the delegation for them to approve cost items. So that's where it will, that's always the harder one or more difficult, but we technically need the board to approve the contract at this point. Because the delegation doesn't approve the contract, they just approve the cost items.
Right. So would Commissioner Hodges like to make that motion?
Yes, I would make that motion.
And is there a second to that motion? All in favor?
I,
Aye, the motion carries. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank
Thank you, Commissioner Hodges. On to other business. Deborah, you have other business, do you not?
I do. I have did I not put this in your folder?
Yeah,
You
it's
should, okay. A recommendation that you consider again increasing the non-union opt-off rates. And I costed this out because this was a proposal from a non-union employee who's considering it. And obviously I can't get a commitment out of that person. He's thinking about it and I didn't even try. I told him, you know, obviously I'm not going to hold you to it, but I'm curious about your intent. He said he's going to talk to his family about it. If this one person opted off a family plan, the difficulty is you have to go pay the people who are already opting off, other non-union employees. So I figured that out. If this one person opts off a family plan and you increase the opt-off rate for the 3 people already opting off a single person plan and 2 people already opting off a family plans, the county would save $5,600. And anyone else who opts off after that is significant savings for the county, basically. This first one would have to cover the cost of everybody else. Now, the other issue here, the things we did a survey, actually, Jamie sent a survey out, and there were 3 other non-union employees who said they would consider it. They'll think about it. We just sent the question, if the opt-off rates were increased, would you consider this for 2024? So if anyone did it, the piece we don't know is, are there employees out there with dual coverage unnecessarily? You know, if they have a spouse with coverage right now, they could be taking that. No, they'd definitely be, well, they could have that coverage and our coverage and be opting off. That's not where we get the savings. It's the people who take our $3,000 deductible plan, because our opt-off rate for a family plan right now is $1,500. If you take our $3,000 deductible plan and opt down, the county is going to pay you $7,400. So if you could be covered somewhere else, you're better off taking our $3,000 deductible plan than opting off here, because our opt-off amount is so low. Now, I don't know if anybody's in that boat. I don't have any way of knowing that. They don't have to tell us that. We may not know that. It just feels to me like, compared to others, our opt-off amount hasn't increased in a long time. All of our unions will now have the higher rate. And it feels like I would recommend that we increase the non-union.
And right now, that does present a bit of a savings, small savings.
And I really just can only say, only if that if nobody else opts off, then we're just spending more money.
And are these opt-off rates here, are these the rates that are in the union contracts?
Yes, the 2,000, 4,500, and 6,000.
So those are consistent with what's been negotiated in other CBAs?
Yes.
What say the board on this?
Say that I have agreed, and the long-standing practice here in the county has been to make sure that our non-union employees have at least equivalent benefits as our union employees. So I see no reason why we shouldn't make this adjustment.
And that would be consistent with that philosophy.
I'll agree with Glenn.
I will move that we accept this proposal. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
And then Deborah, of course. Do we have public comment this evening? Seeing none, are we going on a nursing home tour with Director Richardson?
Yes.
Only if you don't give me the bed.
At this point, any of us should be so lucky to get a bed.
Yeah, right.
So just procedurally, are we recessing the meeting while we go on the tour and then coming back? Is
And
that,
we have some non-public
is
business.
that what we're doing?
Do we have non-public business? It looks like we do.
Non-public and non.
Oh, no. Did I put something in?
Yes,
there?
you did.
Yes, you did, a non-meeting.
Oh, a non-meeting, definitely. We do need to do that.
So should we do that first, then do the tour, or conduct the tour?
Say we do the tour and then adjourn.
Yeah, let's
and then
do the
go.
tour, then Shelley can go home.
Okay, very good. Phil, do you have hors d'oeuvres for us? Snacks, chips, popcorn,
Soda.
soft drinks? No?
So we should
Recess.
recessing for how long for the folks that are online? maybe?
How long do you think it will take, Shelley?
20 minutes, I'll be quick.
20, I'd say a half hour.
Half hour?
What? 20 minutes. I like.
I like 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
5 minutes.
I can walk back.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know if I've ever had a formal, I have seen home tour. Is this new?
Yes,
It's new, right?
yes,
We don't do this every year.
no.
And
No.
we sort of do it twice a year,
Yes.
like
I'd
corrections.
rather tour the nursing home.
And corrections?
A couple of times a year than jail. Don't tell them that. but-
All right, so you will wait. Yes, I will wait. All right. Absolutely.
Scared me now.
Don't be too late. No, you are clear.
Which one?
That I live yes, release if I do these for the day. Yeah.
Who are you?
You want to come in?
Oh, Angela.
All right, I'll come.
You're just gonna do, sit there and you're looking for a phone.
I think if I pick up our next time, it's nice new and shiny.
Maybe Peter probably would, but.
Yeah, I know. That Peter.
That's totally disoriented.
Oh, you could keep walking by.
Yeah. It looks so different.
You like it?
So commissioners, we need to come out of recess, do we not? And then adjourn.
So,
Yes.
So. Agree the motion come out of recess?
move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion to adjourn. No, we don't get a motion.
No, you can just, you're.
We are adjourned, commissioners. Thank you very much. For productive meetings.